Hi, this is Andrew with Always in Love. We're back with an author interview. Today we have the wonderful HJ Bellus joining us and tell a little bit about her and her work. Natasha.
Well, I'm really fortunate to know HJ from the previous life, and I accidentally Facebook stalked her because I read one of her books, not knowing she was HJ Bellus, one of my dear friends from my high school years. So I'm really excited. I read a lot of her books, and then I begged Amanda to read a couple of her books, and Amanda has fallen in. Amanda really liked Hunted, so we decided to invite HJ to our author interview. So I'll let Amanda take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you rapid fire questions. All right, here we go. What is your favorite word?
Fuck.
What is your least favorite word?
Can't.
What is your favorite curse word? Kind of already got that one.
Fuck, shit, bitch. I can't.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
What was that again?
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Probably stay-at-home mom. Never had the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom. I've always been teaching and a mom. I mean, I work from home now, but I'm really not a full-time stay-at-home mom, so I think I would choose that.
What profession would you not like to do?
Clean toilets at Walmart.
What books are you reading right now?
It's so funny you ask that because I am such an Audible whore that I have my Beats pill and my phone here. I've devoured, and I know I'm so past due, but I've devoured the Hashtag series by Cambria Herbert.
Yes.
And I'm on book number 3, and there's like 35 minutes left, and I'm dying. So I love Audible. I always have to have background noise going, so I could be cleaning or, doing social media, and I always have an Audible book going in the background. So that's what I'm on right now.
That's a really good series.
Yes, I want Romeo.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie has to be Hope Floats.
What is one thing about you that would surprise us?
I sleep with my glasses on. I have no idea why.
What would an ideal day be for you?
An ideal day is probably, actually it kind of goes back to Natasha and I's background. Her family spent a week at the fair. My family spent a week at the fair. I think it's a really odd concept for people that live in the city or haven't been to county fairs, but we literally take our RV in for a full week from Sunday to Sunday, and we're there the whole time. I mean, there's no showers, nothing. It's just kids, family, animals, and a good time. So,
who is your celebrity crush?
Charlie Hunnam, hands down.
What are your favorite foods?
Tacos. I'm pretty simple.
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Cheese. I like lots of cheese.
Who's your favorite boy band? Past, current, whatever.
I guess Backstreet Boys. I guess I am a kid of the 90s, so I guess I'd be crucified if I didn't say that.
Puppies or kittens?
Puppies, for sure. Kittens are just evil.
Yes.
Favorite game?
I'm going back to the 90s again, Will and Grace. I haven't found anything that beats Will and Grace.
Favorite reality show?
Oh, this is so embarrassing. Probably Teen Mom. I don't know why, but I get so wound up in those episodes. It's ridiculous. I even got in a fight over my husband about the DVR, and I quit DVRing stuff for 3 years, and then I had to get caught up on Netflix.
What is the last thing that was stuck in your head?
The one thing that stuck in my head?
The last song.
Oh, last song. Actually, Downtown. It was the song like a year ago. My husband hated it because we'd always sing I would sing high, like downtown, like over and over again. And he'd get so pissed off. And then I heard it on the way home today when I was picking up the kids at school. And when I was at a signing in LA last year, that was like, we played it all the time. And there's even an embarrassing story of Adam riding a random scooter in a parking garage singing Downtown. And it's bad. The one being the mom, like, don't stop, get off the scooter. If you know Heidi's saying stop, it's like very bad. So it's that song, I guess. Good memories.
What is your beverage of choice?
Oh, during the daytime, it's probably Diet Pepsi. And at the night, probably Coors Light.
If you could commit one crime without being caught, what would you do?
That's so harsh. I'd probably do something to my high school rival that I still have a grudge against. That would be really bad. I was probably a little too honest.
If given a choice, what animal would you be and why?
That's a hard one. Probably a butterfly. They just float around, light. They don't worry about getting fat or anything like that. So, and they're always pretty and colorful. So I guess a butterfly.
And our bonus question, which Harry Potter house are you?
Oh, Gryffindor for sure. Kind of like the good girl, but I have my little bad side, but I can come off good.
That's the end of the questions. Thank you. Now Natasha's here with the,
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
So let's tell us a little about yourself and your books.
Well, my logo basically, or my branding, started off with my nerd glasses, which I have several pairs of, and then just a small town girl writing fairy tales, and I literally live in a small town. You know that, Natasha. I think a lot of people think that I make stuff up, but I'm from a town with one stoplight, and from that town I live 15 miles out in the middle of nowhere. And gosh, I lose track of the years. It seems like forever because I just love writing. But about 3 years ago, I just started writing. My first book was Cree, and the prologue is actually my childhood story. And I just kind of started writing just to let it go. I've always been very crafty and creative, and so journaling's been a big thing. And so I just started writing the prologue to Cree, and then it just has stopped. So that's a little bit about me. I have 2 kids, live on a farm. I taught for 13 years. And I quit teaching. This is my 2nd year not teaching, and I'm a full-time author, and I'm just living the dream as long as it lets me live it.
Okay, what male character of yours would you marry, kill, or fuck?
Oh, it's really funny. I guess when I listen to Hunted, as an author, I think you don't forget characters, but you don't remember characters. You don't remember the depth, the passion you guys were talking about with them. And I know my Reckless series, Dirty, Filthy, and Scandal, is the newest one that I have been writing. But Rhett really sticks to me. Rhett is actually in Filthy, and he's an asshole. He's a smartass. He's a cocky guy. And I just love all that. But above that, he has a huge heart. Like what he loves, but he's not serious all the time. So I would probably marry Rhett, lick Rhett, kiss Rhett, live with Rhett, give him babies, wash his underwear. So Rhett would be my choice.
Okay, so what type of a writer are you? Are you a planner or just take forever?
That's a really weird question. I always see that in author support groups, and I don't necessarily get an idea then outline it specifically. But what's really caught me probably the last 2 years are pictures. So actually it started with 8-Second Decision. With Furious Photog had posted a picture on the back of his camera of William Scott. And I'm like, I just messaged him, like, I have to have that picture. And the storyline was literally just, it was born. I mean, it was just there. And so I knew what I was going to write. Do I sit down and outline every little single thing or anything like that? No, I don't. But when I get an idea in my head and it's powerful, it typically goes pretty fast. Example for Pinky Promise. Actually, we saw each other at the Country Music Festival. The first day of that, I told Tim, like, I sat down and wrote 5,000 words before we left. And I'm like, Tim, make me write 5,000 words a day and I'll have this knocked out. Well, it lasted for 4 days. Then I finished Scandal, and then I went back to Pinky Promise, and I'd had that cover for probably 8 months, and it just flowed. So I guess my brain's weird. I kind of catalog the stories and the outlines, but I don't necessarily have a notebook where I'm really strict and outline everything in it. That was a really bad answer.
That was a great answer. How do you get to, I mean, you just said you kind of just catalog it. Is that your writing zone?
It really is. And I am big on visual. Like I said, I was a scrapbooker, which is sad to say. That hurts my heart. My kids, probably up until they were 7 and 5, they each had a scrapbook for every year they were alive. Like, just pictures meant so much to me. And I think it's because my childhood, there's very few pictures, and the pictures they weren't on acid-free paper. So, you know, they're not very good quality. So that's always been, I'm very visual, and that's important to me. So what I did, and it's funny you asked that, one day, because I kind of panicked, I'm like, I buy so many pictures, I don't even know what I have. And so I printed them all off and put them on a poster board above my desk. And then when I'd sit there and look at it, I would panic because I wanted to write each of their stories. Because I had the basic idea in my head, I wanted to write it. And so we'll actually be releasing it here in a couple of weeks. I wrote it's called Words Matter, an author's journal. And it's a place where an author can storyboard, this teacher in me, storyboard 12 stories, and I made it so they can glue their cover in there. They can, characters, the details, the plots, and all of that stuff. Because my New Year's resolution, I mean, let's all be honest, we all want to lose weight. Well, hell, I failed at that for 36 years of my life. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm not losing weight this year. And so my New Year's resolution for the first year of my life, it was something for me. I'm like, I want to release a story every month. Like, that was my work goal, because my husband's a farmer, so he's always been self-employed, where I worked under a contract as a teacher. So I knew when I had to go to work, I knew when I could leave, I knew what my expectations were. So I kind of panicked when I was self-employed. So anyway, I'm like, I got to stay on track and do this. And so the 12 stories, I think I missed 1 or 2 months, which I don't care. But anyway, so I've made this book, and it's going to be a planning tool for authors to use as they're writing. And I see my brain utilizing that, and I try to make it functional for all authors, because so I do see a picture and I buy it and I get the cover design, then I can sit there and write all my notes. If a song comes on and reminds me of that cover, I can jot that song in. I have a place for like teasers and quotes, because as we're writing and when you get to 90K, like, you're like, crap, everything I wrote was shit. Like, what am I going to use as a teaser? Just because you've been with the word so much. But I don't remember what the question was now, but that was the answer.
That was great. It was about your writing zone.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your writing quirk?
Probably drives my husband nuts. Like, I don't have a desk, I don't have an office space, it's not black and white. If I want to sit in the recliner and type, I do, or in the bed, or my stuff just scattered everywhere. If everything was organized and neat, I would probably panic.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm just a hot mess.
Do you hear from your readers a lot?
I really do. So I have a My Way Girl group that's about, I think, 800 members in it. And I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to travel to some signings and actually meet readers. And so I always try to interact with them and talk with them. Something for one of the My Way girls, she's one of the originals. Her son was selling coasters for a fundraiser. And even though they're on the East Coast, I wanted to support them. So, I love to hear from them and stuff like that. With Scandal and the ARCs I've sent out, I've had several readers contact me and tell me how close to home the story hit, which really gutted me, and they've kind of shared their stories with me. And so it just kind of makes everything worthwhile. And you know someone's on the other end enjoying your words. And so it's just an author.
What do you like what do you like to do when you're not writing?
I'll probably be a dumbass. That's what I'm really good at. Like having fun, hanging out with friends and family. We're fancy. We have a cabin up in the mountains. Love to get away at the cabin or hang out with the family. Just pretty much simple life is what I like.
What is one of the most surprising things you learned in creating your books?
I guess we'll get all cheesy and sappy. I guess just that, you know, a lot of people still in the area we live in, they're like, oh, what kind of books do you write? And I'll be like, oh, God, do I say contemporary romance, adult romance? Like, where do you go at? And you say it, they're like, oh, or they're like, what is that? And it's just kind of a stigma. And I came from a very small town teaching school to be in an office. And I guess the thing is, a lot of people say, do you miss the kids or do you miss that? Because what you're doing now isn't that influential, blah, blah, blah. And what I've learned is, because I've broken so many cycles, I was raised by my grandparents, you know, graduated high school, just broke a lot of cycles. And so what I like to tell people if we get that far in conversation is, I'm teaching my prior students that I saw relationships a bigger lesson. And the bigger lesson is break the cycles, number one. And if you have a dream, go for it. I mean, bar none. Just go for your dream. Yeah, you may face plant and eat shit a couple times, but if you work hard enough and you get there, you will get there. And those moments in my author career have been very surreal. It's just like, sometimes I don't even believe it. So I guess the biggest thing is just believing in yourself and going for it and giving others the strength. And, you know, a lot of mine are, you know, my students or my 4-H members, is giving them the strength to go for it. Like, doesn't matter what it is, you know, if you want it, work hard enough and get it. So that's probably been my biggest realization. And I still pinch myself all the time, just like, I'm pretty sure this isn't real.
Well, you're fabulous at it. What authors do you like to read? And what books have a strong influence on you?
Oh, it's really weird because when I first, like, I would devour everything. And I still remember having a panic attack at school with one of my coworkers when, you know, the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy was over. And like, I was totally, it was ridiculous. Like, here it was like pay for performance in Idaho, you know, like my paycheck was on, and I'm freaking out about 50 Shades of Grey, you know. And then we would just network, and I got into Gabriel's Inferno and all of that stuff, found Alice Clayton. And honestly, it's just Audible and the recommendations, things that I come across my timeline. I actually love to read anything. My favorite, I made Lydia listen to the end of it on the way to Portland for Passion in Portland, which she'd already heard. It was Cocky Bastard. And I just loved it. It was hilarious. So I just love a good story. I mean, it really doesn't matter the genre. When you fall in love with the characters, so I guess I'm a sucker for that. But I'm always on, like I said, the Audible thing, because I love background noise. So huge.
What are you working on right now?
Trying to stay in, or I about said trying to stay insane, trying to stay sane. No, just kidding. I finished Scandal, is out to the ARCs, proofreaders. It'll release September 26th. And I finished the book Pinky Promise. That was the one I told you I saw at the music festival. And I had that cover for a while, and it's about basically two kids that were raised on the streets, and then they were both here and were separated. Then you'll have to read the rest to find out, because it's pretty fabulous. Anyway, I'm just rereading through that, and then I'll send that to the editor. And that one turned out, I love college-aged books. I guess I should answer that in your last question. I love reading college-aged books. And I don't know if it's because I didn't have a wild college life, or if that's where my spirit animal lies. I love college life books and football. and it's kind of centered around that, but there's a lot of unique aspects to it. And so there's that. And then I'm in another anthology. So Fucking Awkward is going to have another anthology coming up, and so I'm writing about that. And so when you ask about the writing process, I've been thinking about it, and so I guess I'll spill the beans here. I'm thinking this gal is going to be at an awful Christmas party, and there's a new employee, and they have sex and like break the baby Jesus ornament and all this stuff. And then she finds out at a family party it's her cousin. But then at the end, it's like cousin by marriage. But the whole time she's thinking she screwed her cousin. And I don't know how much more awkward that can get. So that's what I'm working on now.
Okay, so what put in your mind to write about twisted twins with the hunted?
Oh, I'm like, twisted twins? That's not my book. I guess because there is always, I don't know, family dynamics. And so you can look out on a family on the outside and they all look perfect. And then once you get to know more of the family, there's some cracks here, there's some cracks there, and things aren't as they appear. And so I just really, and I always thought, this doesn't sound so weird, like I always envisioned it like a little movie in my mind, like this hot, sexy ex-con just like strolling out of the prison for the first time. And he'd been in there in just like, and it was Charlie Hunnam shirtless, walking with his hair flowing in the breeze, like walking out of a prison. And so I always wanted to kind of write an ex-con book where, yeah, they were the bad guy. They had done some bad things, but was it horrible? No. But they served time when they shouldn't have. And then they come out pissed and bitter and angry at the world. And how do they adapt? How do they find a place and go back to society without repeating a pattern or becoming even more involved in crime? And so I thought it would be fun to have a character where, there's a good angel and the bad angel, and it kind of represents the twins in the book.
Oh, and the cover is beautiful. And I was fortunate to meet Adam when you had your party here in Idaho, but that's a gorgeous cover.
Thank you. It was actually shot in Tulsa, 2015, and Adam and Golden were there Sunday or Monday, and I had flown out. It had to be Sunday, and I had flown out, and I told them exactly what to get. And it was the first time Adam and I actually were at a signing together and worked. I had an exclusive shot with Golden, and Golden sent me like, hey, we got this shot, and I would just literally, I saw it pop up on my phone. I pulled off on the interstate and I saw it, and I like literally almost cried. I'm like, that is so perfect. Because if you ever meet Adam, and a lot of people didn't even realize that was him on the cover, he does not look like that at all. So that was like, that is the shot. That's the perfect shot.
All right, Amanda, what do you have for her?
So my questions are about the hunted. It's the one that's kind of freshest in my mind. As you saw, I kind of went a little bit overboard. I really was interested in the crazy that is Argo. And then how were you able to push it that far? Like, I mean, Argo's quite a bit beyond just normal twists. And are we ever going to see things from his point of view?
It was so funny when I listened to your review. I'm like, it was just like wheels were processing. I'm like, Argo, how could I write a story about Argo? But he had to be good at some point in his life. And I'm like, man, that's like the most interesting point and like thought-provoking idea I've ever had. I'm like, that's a pretty good idea. I mean, I thought it was really cool. I guess just kind of like, I wanted it pushed as, I've heard a lot of stories of twins. Obviously, I don't have any experience with it. Or even favoritism in siblings that are close to age. And I think Argo was just literally born with an evil soul. Like, he wanted to be the best. Even when he starts out, you're little, you're at the, the basketball shoot at school or the flag football or any of the little peewee sports, he just had to be the best. He thrived on that attention. He had to be the best. Well, it really sucks when your other twin, identical twin, is naturally better at you than everything. And so that anger and evil kind of boils up in him. And he kept trying so hard and so hard to be popular or have more friends or more than this. He just thrived off that attention. And that's what led him down the road. And so obviously the high school scene, when he was trying to fit in with the high school boys, he wanted to be popular. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to be in that in crowd, and he chose to sacrifice anything to get there.
Yeah. A lot of that, his story was hard to read, but I still think that even though it wouldn't be like a traditional happy ending or, you know, something will change even, I think it would still be interesting, even, you know, as like they were kids, like just the story of, you know, what, but it just,
no, I just totally would be. And it totally made me think. I was actually in Rome, and that's probably 30 minutes away from where I live, and I thought about it the whole way home. I'm like, oh, I could finally do it. I could write one of those books where there's not an HEA, because I've almost had the balls a couple of times to do it, and then they just shrivel right up. I'm like, I can't do it. And so I'm thinking, like, Argo, that would be the perfect situation, because, you know, we're all, like, I guess I believe in the train of thought. You know, we're all good people at one time, fictional characters or real people, you know what I mean? But what actually shapes you into becoming that person? So,
yeah, I would definitely read that. I apparently like the Twisted Guys, as Natasha knows. I read a lot of darker books sometimes, but I think that they were really, really interesting characters, together, apart, everything about The Hunted. I really, really enjoyed. Just the style it was written in, and it really makes me excited to read more books like that. It was just one of those stories I want to tell everybody about.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it was kind of, I think it was hard when I started writing it, because I kind of had a feeling it would be kind of a love or hate, kind of like with my story Blue, because I knew the character of Basil was going to be innocent. You know, she came from a hippie mom, and she wanted to further herself and go to art school, but then she didn't want the typical demands of all the government student loans and all this, but yet all of her friends around her were like, oh, no big deal, just get the loan, go into debt. So she was kind of wanting to do things on her own way. So I was really nervous readers would hate her right off the gate, because they're like, she's so weird. Like, why is she doing this? Why does she want to do this on her own? And she's putting herself in this shitty part of town with crime and all this stuff. She's like, you know, what an idiot. So like my biggest scare was people hating her from the get-go and be like, you're so dumb. Why don't you just do it on your own? And like, she was positive. She was innocent. She was all those things. And so my hardest thing was incorporating Van into the story and, you know, kind of the dark side of it. So that was a hard point, but I really think they were perfect together in the fact when they got past all of their, you know, their breaking points or whatever. And when I was listening to your guys' review, it was funny, I was in the car, I kept thinking, bring up Bay's mom, because I would find myself, I'm probably, have some humor in it, and I love writing romantic comedy. And so her mom was like being funnier and shit. And I'm like, okay, Heidi, this is supposed to be a serious, dark book. Like, you can't keep being funny. But I think one of the biggest pivotal points is when he took her home. And I think the mom had a woman lover there or something there naked in the backyard. I can't remember exactly what it was. But I think that was just kind of a breaking point just to mix it all up. And the bigger message is like, hey, we're all humans. We come from different walks of life, and we're going to merge it together. So I don't know. I really enjoyed writing those mix of characters, but yet it was scary as an author, because I'm like, oh, Lord, how's this going to come across to the reader?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a lot of stuff about art and things like that. And you also had, I know that there's some dancers and things like that in your doing series. What kind of research goes into that kind of thing? I know I'm particularly interested in art because I'm an art major, but the painting, the artwork, that kind of stuff. I was able to visualize it really well. Did you have like inspiration or?
I guess I should say yes and no. I love art. I'll see things on Pinterest, or even when I used to scrapbook. I physically want to do it. Like, yeah, I can cut out papers, I can glue stuff down and square everything up. But like the actual art and some of the things I see on canvas and the paints, like I literally fall in love with. Can I personally do it? Absolutely not. But I love it. I don't know. I've always been super attracted to that stuff. So I haven't done necessarily to say like research on it. I guess it's just kind of things I've seen over the years that I actually love. And kind of the same with dance. I guess just watching things, I just really appreciate that aspect of life. And so I've always been a lover of the art. And so that was fun to bring in. I actually still have on my bucket list the picture at the end. I have it very vivid in my mind. I don't know if it's a curse or not, but I would love to hire an artist one day to actually make this painting. I would love the painting that was sold at the auction house in my house forever, because I don't know, I visualize it in my head. So I kind of think it's a curse, because if someone ever made it, you know, I might already have this box idea of how I want it to look, and it doesn't look like that. But I would love someone to paint that one day, or, you know, even digitally remake it. I think that would be really awesome.
Well, the visual aspect of the way that you view things, the visual, the way you describe things like that, it really comes across. It really plays as in your head, because of the way that you describe things. And awesome. I really appreciate that. And as a reader, especially for things like art, things like that, it was really, and it really kind of helped the story out a lot. And I enjoyed it a lot. It made, like I said, it made a movie, and it was very vivid and very, very good.
Awesome. That's a great compliment. A great story to actually share about that is one time when they were walking home from the grocery store, Bay stopped, and she stopped a couple of times to give some groceries to a homeless man on the corner. So last year when I was at a signing down in LA, my friends, we took Adam to Venice Beach. And so my nail tech and her friend, we were down there and we were just hanging out. We ordered a funnel cake while he was working out in Venice Beach. And I probably only ate like a quarter of it, but I haven't been in the big cities very much. So it was a very, very eye-opening experience. There were just so many homeless people, and it was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It was very beautiful, and I'd go back, but it was also dirty. Like, it was really dirty. And I was probably only ate a quarter of the funnel cake, and I went to throw it away. And my friend Lisa's like, go give it to that guy. And there was just, you know, just a guy walking around. Like, we had just watched him eat like a rotten container of strawberries out of the garbage. It was very, very hard. And so I got up and I went to give it to him. And another lady she was either in a walker or a wheelchair, like tried to snatch it out of my hands to take it for herself. And I took it back and I gave it to the guy. And like when I handed it to him, like our fingers touched, like I could feel his hand. And it was just like the grimiest dirt, the dirtiest grime you could ever feel. I mean, it was so, so, so heartbreaking. And I handed it to him, and he just lit up. He's like, thank you so much, thank you. And I mean, I literally had tears in my eye. And I walked away, and this is when I was writing The Hunt. I'm not very far into it. And I was like, kind of like froze for a second. I'm like, holy shit, that's something Bay would totally do. Like, that was totally her coming out in me. And so that's why I actually wrote it into the book. So I guess there's another little sneak peek or preview of how things come into my head and how they get into the story. But I'll never forget the touch of his hand and how excited he was to get that. And I just had to express it in words somehow.
Well, and you can tell that in your writing. You're really passionate, because I read a lot of your books. You're that girl, still gets me. It's like still in my head. And Scandal I just finished this weekend, and it was a roller coaster. And I think that's why your writing is so good, is because you put your whole heart into it, and your funny stuff, because the Big O is hilarious and Fucking Awkward was, you know, you have some good stuff. So you kind of have both. That's why I like you so much. But I'm also, you know, biased to you too.
It's funny, actually, that girl, I'll start really quick. That book was actually developed completely on a situation that happened around me. When I taught 4th grade. My daughter was in 4th grade across the classroom from me. And she came home one day and said, Mom, can we make cupcakes for so-and-so because she's not getting any for her birthday? And I said, I was kind of like bit my lip, like, yes, I guess I have so much shit to do, you know, but I was the nice mom. But my Libby has a heart of gold. So she bought everything. She made them, took them to school. And then the next day she's like, Mom, I get to go over to a sleepover. And I was like, oh. And so we take her, and it's literally the stereotypical house with, like, I'm not going to go into detail, very stereotypical house. I take her in, and she's just so excited. Everything's so nice because she does not have a judging bone in her body. And I go out in the car, and I told Tim, I'm like, we're going to go eat the China house, or I'm picking Libby up. But she actually ended up spending the night and having the time of her life. But when I was in there, I saw 2 of my former students who would have been juniors or seniors, just, they each had babies sitting on the couch, like doing nothing with their life. And it took everything in my power not to just like get up there and shake them and say, go girls, go do something with your life. Because you were the most, I mean, you were so smart, brave, like driven in 3rd grade, go do something with your life. And so when I sat in the car, that's where I got that girl from. It's basically 2 best friends in crappy situations in a small town, and they make a pact to run when they're 18. And one of them doesn't make it because she's pregnant with the other one runs. And each town she moves to, she changes her name because she never wants to be that girl again. So when you ask where stories come from, I think it's just really random. I mean, it can be a small experience in your life. It can be a picture you see, the way the wind breezes that day, you know, I don't know, but it's fun to share those experiences. And, you know, it's all about the romance. It's about the smut. I even said that when I was on the news. Yeah, of course, who's not going to get excited over that? But I always tried to pride myself in an underlying powerful message. And I guess, you know, when I started writing, I was kind of tired of reading female heroines that were the victims. Oh, woe is me. I need him. I need this, blah, blah, blah. I always try to strive for, like, strong female lead characters. Like, you know, go kick ass and get things done. So.
You did great.
Thanks.
Yeah, is there anything else, Natasha, you can think of?
I am good.
No, we really, really
you guys
appreciate
it. Like, camera.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Follow HJ. All of our information is going to be in the description, as well as follow us for videos like this, more author interviews, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.